like this. I was a 14-year-old girl that had to grow up with 3 brothers and no sisters. Now, this is an aspect of my life that I considered a challenge. It's a challenge I'm eternally grateful to have faced, but a challenge regardless. In contrast to others, all that comes to their minds when I say this is the infamous, one and only sentence that I just love. أكيد أنت اللي مدللة بالبيت. أيوة هي هاي. All my problems just belittled to a matter of me being the favorite child, which Yusuf just accepted I am. But I'm also the most deserving of that title. And let me tell you why. It all started the day my parents brought me home from the hospital. And Yusuf, my older, and let's just say curious brother, poked me in the eye. Yes, he actually poked me in the eye as his brain tried to make sense of the small creature his mother was holding. But that's fine, I had bigger problems to deal with anyways. 4 years later, my second brother was born. And a year after that, the third. And yet somehow, Yusuf was still curious, or at least that's what I tell myself when I start questioning how he thought grabbing the scooter from under my leg was a good idea. But try telling that to the Rama screaming, "Damn!" as the neighbors run to our house to pour coffee on my now open head. But that's fine. I'm okay, there is no childhood trauma here. And as if this wasn't enough, at the age of 14, at around 11 p.m., my parents tell me and my brother to stand in the living room and wait for them because they have something important to tell us. So obviously, nerves increase by the minute until they join us and the guessing game begins. We throw out suggestions like رح يسافروا يتركونا بالبيت, and all the way to things like رح نهاجر على أمريكا. But they were all followed with a knowing smile and a shake of the head. Until me, being the hilarious jokester I am, say, Rama Hamad! And as I am expecting 3 separate laughs following my hilarious joke, I only get 1. And as my parents look at their firstborn child and their only daughter laughing, and waiting for us to notice that they're not laughing along, it sinks in. Rama Hamad. So the next couple of months were spent with me wondering about the gender and hoping it wasn't another boy. We went to stores and I looked at baby girl clothes and was all sorts of excited. I even managed to convince my mom to put the baby's bed in my room. Big mistake. It's a boy, they then tell me. And thankfully, growing up with brothers has allowed me to master the art of faking emotions and pretending I'm not about to cry because they called me ugly. This talent comes in handy as I smile and I congratulate my mom for having yet another son. Now you look at this picture and you're like, how can she even be angry at something so small and cute? And yes, I know, but to be honest, these pent-up tears were due to many fears. Fears triggered by certain memories. Memories of when I was 12, and girls started dressing up and going shopping. When at 13, they started wearing makeup and guess what? Talking to boys. When at 14, I found out the house was going to be more crowded, and yet somehow more lonely for me. I had no one to talk to about boys or to teach me how to wear makeup. But that's not even the problem. The problem was that I wasn't even the least bit interested in learning. And that didn't bother me, until I realized it was supposed to. In almost every society, young boys are encouraged from a young age to go outside and have adventures, while girls are encouraged to stay home and do their chores. By the age of 10, almost all girls have the distinct impression that their key asset is their physical appearance. In fact, 75% of girls aged 11 to 14 in the UK already wear eyeshadow, and 71% wear mascara. Now adults look at these young girls and they're like, "Aw, she's trying to look like her mother." But no, actually, in most cases, she is probably demonstrating early signs of self-esteem issues and a negative self-image. This young girl then grows up. Her toy kitchen turns into lower wages because girls don't belong in an office. Her toy, a baby, turns into hamata asking, "طيب, إمتى بدنا نشوف baby صغير?" And her toy makeup turns into a mask that she is too insecure to take off. These expectations of a young girl grow to be expectations of a housewife. And it starts in the simplest of acts. For example, when my sweet mother isn't home, I suddenly know how to cook.
Rama, sandwiche.
Which, keep in mind, I really don't.
Shy.
But apparently I should. Women in this society are expected to know how to be perfect housewives while also attaining the definition of success they have set upon. The definition of a woman by the Oxford Dictionary is an adult human female. And yet females who are classified by biology to be women suddenly have to meet the requirements of society to be considered one. It's no longer a matter of biology or even a male household. It's one of a male-led society and culture. In a culture like this, they expect a lot out of women. And these expectations come in all shapes and forms. They expect you to know how to cook, how to clean, how to be respectful yet well-spoken, how to be ladylike and stand up for yourself, how to get really high grades, maintain your appearances, and most importantly, maintain your reputation. Over the years, the world has taught me that my brothers and I can never be treated equally. And that is not a limitation set by my family. That's a limitation set by the society that we live in. In a culture like this, a woman's reputation is of extreme value and importance. And if you don't believe me, believe Suha, a Jordanian high school dropout that was stabbed to death by her teenage brother because he suspected she was dating a neighbor. Suha was one of 23 women killed in Jordan in 2014 in the name of honor crimes, or crimes committed by male relatives against women for being raped, losing their virginity, having a relationship out of wedlock, or for simply dating. Now, I want to make it clear that I was never subjected to these extremes. But to some extent, this importance of reputation is what has created a gap between me and my brothers, due to the sacrifices I have had to make without them even noticing it. My parents are amazing, and they try as much as possible to give me the same opportunities my brothers have. But I couldn't help but grow envious of their happiness that sometimes came at the cost of mine. In fact, the MENA region was ranked higher than any other region in the world in terms of women's depression. And for that, I ended up becoming more independent and sort of living in my own world. But here I am, 2 years later, and I'm talking about a challenge that ended up being the greatest, most important aspect of my life. I love my brothers more than everything. But I couldn't help but wonder what my life would be like if some aspects of it were tweaked. Would I be wearing glasses right now if it weren't for that poke? Would I be getting 7s in DT if it weren't for that scooter injury? Would I be happier if gender discrimination wasn't such a prominent issue in our society? Let me ask you something. What if the balloons in the hospital room the day you were born were blue instead of pink? Your first toy, a car instead of a Barbie? Expected to succeed and provide rather than look pretty to be a suitable wife? Would you be who you are today, or are you merely a reflection of what you're expected to be? Did you know that by the time children reach 2 to 3 years of age, they start showing their gender identity? Now, part of that is biology, but it's also simply children following their adult role models. For example, a boy watches his father be interested in cars and fixing their own car, and a girl watches her mother cook a delicious meal in the kitchen. The next day, the boy asks for a truck, the girl a toy kitchen. By the time children reach 3 years old, they already start playing with games that they think fit their gender and with other children that are the same sex as them. When in fact, they don't even start understanding the idea of gender until 6 or 7 years old. We talk about gender equality, but how do we expect equality when we engrave it into our children since the day that they're born that we're different? Take a moment and think. Are you who you're meant to be, or merely a stereotype of your gender? Isn't it time that growing up in a male household shouldn't be a challenge that I'm discussing in my speech? Thank you.